The all-new 22 Civic, now on sale at Team Honda on Siegen Lane.
Good morning.
Morning, how is you?
I'm great. Honey, we're home.
Exactly. Look at us, we made it back over here. Okay, so that must mean either we kicked our friends out from New Orleans, which we would never do, or they are back in the Big Easy broadcasting their way to their viewers, trying to keep everybody updated.
So it's great news.
Yeah.
As Matt said, their power is back on. Their crew is able to report back from their hometown. Good news for them, and that means we get to be here too.
Playing with all the toys
win-win.
in here. Exactly.
Yes.
Win, 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 win.
Yes.
Winning in the world of weather. As you kind of step out this morning, actually, you know what? We're not going to be like low 90s today, but there's a heat advisory because it's one of the special ones kind of because we're dealing with still some power outage, lack of AC. It ain't just heat though. Pay attention to the showers later today.
Yeah, so this might cool things down a little bit later today, but just be aware, especially as people are out and about working on their homes, people are still driving to and from work, so we are expecting some scattered storms as you see that timeline walk through the day. Just be aware that that is what we're in for today, on top of what Matt said, that heat advisory. But you know the silver lining of what Steve said this morning?
Look at those.
Do you see the lows we're flirting with, Matt?
Oh my God, stop flirting and put a ring on it. That is a magic. Look at that, mid-60s.
That is magic. We are so looking forward to that dip down between Thursday through Saturday. You know that relief is going to feel good. Even the highs, 88s, we'll take it because we've been sitting pretty in the 90s, sitting pretty and sweating in the 90s.
Right.
So, yeah, that cool relief will be really nice.
Can't wait for that. This, though, is heartbreaking. This is one of the top stories we were talking about today, the death of a 2-year-old and now the arrest of his mother.
Yeah, so we broke the story yesterday, and we were told from the East Baton Rouge Sheriff's deputies, who is the agency investigating this, that a child had gone missing. So that's how it originally started out. They were looking for a missing child. They were called to an apartment complex off of South Harrells Ferry Road to investigate, and they were searching the whole property. They even brought in divers to search in the pool, and that's where they found the 2-year-old boy at the bottom of the pool. And so it's been a questionable story as they continue to question the mother and ask, you know, where was the kid last seen? When did you last see the child? So she said that she last saw the child around 10 a.m. By 4 p.m. he had been missing, and late into the evening they were still wondering why it had been so long that since she had seen her own son.
So obviously when they found him, they started to ask more questions and more questions. He was questioned by detectives. And this morning it comes out that she has now been charged with negligent homicide of her 2-year-old son. So the investigation is obviously continuing. The story updated right here, WAFB.com, the 9 News app will follow it for you, obviously, because we know a lot of you want to know the very latest. But we'll make sure we stay on top of it.
That's it.
So that's going on. But as the majority of the rest of the folks kind of wake up in southeast Louisiana, there's this going on. Where are we right now? As I can reset. Let me see if we got any different.
Ooh, jumped back up.
It kind of did. This is just Louisiana, 423,000. This is poweroutage.us, so it takes into all the all the power companies. 423,000 customers, obviously the majority in the southeast.
Yeah, and 1 week ago, we weren't able to show you this because we weren't here, but if you saw 9 News this morning, you were able to see this part of the world all in red. So let's talk about progress from 1 week's time. We were sitting at about 1 million customers without power this time 1 week ago. Now you're seeing a lot more yellow, which means more customers are being restored. Hopefully the goal is to see all blue. That is the eventual goal, and linemen have been brought in from other parts of the country to help make that happen. If you are watching this because you have power, it's because of linemen who have worked hard throughout the week since Ida made landfall to make this happen, but we're still talking about just under 500,000 people who are out of power.
And you've got a lot of them, obviously, you know, when you think about Terrebonne, Lafourche, and even Jefferson, or actually Orleans coming back a little bit more with Plaquemines. But in our area, I mean, Ascension, Tangi's still getting a lot, Livingston as well, Livingston and Ascension. So there are still a number of parishes in our area out, but you really get down to the coast, and it is heavy down there. But yeah, they see Livingston total customers out. So without the power, you got a lot of folks relying on generators right
And
now.
this is the problem, is that we're hearing more and more about carbon monoxide
it's
deaths.
heartbreaking.
The crazy thing about this is, y'all know, we talk about generator safety all the time, is that carbon monoxide is a silent killer.
Sure
You
it
don't,
is.
it's too late by the time you know.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about some of the really important things you need to know is when we talk about generator safety, having that generator outside of your home, more than 20 feet away, all of that is very intentional. These are not just arbitrary numbers because they want to keep people safe.
Right.
It's for a reason, so that the carbon monoxide stays away from your home. It's not inside. We know when we're expecting showers like we are today, you probably want to bring it inside to use some of the
Maybe some
things that you
carport,
want.
that
Right.
kind of thing, yeah.
You want to just use that, but that's the danger, is that we've already seen 4 people have died, 141 people have been brought to the
Man,
hospital.
think about that.
That's a lot of
140.
people. Yeah.
141, just incredible.
Yeah.
And actually, it's just we focus a lot on portable generators because that's the that's a
Yeah.
number of, more often than not, that's what's doing it. But we're hearing those permanent generators, those whole home generators you may have installed, having a few issues there as well. Just if you've got a generator of any kind, certainly the portable ones, just pay attention to it. Just absolutely
Please.
pay attention. Don't assume
Yeah.
it's running well. Don't assume everything's fine. Actually assume the opposite and really pay attention to it, because you could save a life. You could save your life, your family's life. Just pay attention. A lot going on.
Steve was talking about that. I didn't know that until this storm, really. For the whole home generators, like the Generac ones that
Yeah.
are built in with the home, I didn't know you need to shut them off for a couple hours at a time and open the windows because of that silent killer.
And it's depending on, now
Yeah.
look, here it is. Now, depending on what you got and how it's hooked
Of
up
course.
and where it is, for instance, my folks had one, and we actually called the day after we had been running this
Good.
thing, right? Because we were staying over at my folks' place,
Yeah.
and it was, do we have to do this? Do we have to do this? Like, no. You don't have to shut this off. You don't have to do this, but you do have to shut it off for a little bit to change the oil, let it go, start it back up. Just pay attention to all of it. Don't assume
Yeah.
you're doing everything right. Run through that owner's manual. And you know what the most important thing is? Have a carbon monoxide detector.
Yeah.
That'll let you know regardless.
And you can get that at any hardware store.
Any.
Yeah.
So, man, you hate to see these stories. You
I
hate,
know.
you hate to see them because they're not stories, they're individuals, they're human beings, their
Yes.
lives being lost to something that doesn't have to happen. So please, gosh, pay attention.
Something to check and think about,
Yeah,
and be mindful of
I
as
think
we
so.
move forward. Something else to be mindful of, Governor Edwards updating us on where the state stands in terms of relief dollars and
Yeah.
what to expect from federal aid, and where we are in terms of progress. Power outages, right? We
All
just
of it.
talked about that. So we're expecting that statewide update today. The governor is going to speak live around 3 o'clock.
Around 3 o'clock, I think. And
Yeah.
that's, that's kind of vacillated a little bit of wiggle room
word.
when it comes to that. Scrabble word.
Very nice.
Roll of toilet paper.
Okay.
Dictionary. But it's shifted a little bit. Those things can happen.
Yeah.
But this one is a little bit later in the day. Sometimes it's been set for 1:30 and all of a sudden it's 2 o'clock. This one's set for 3. You can watch it, you can stream it right to any device with the 9 News app installed, and of course we'll update you later, broadcast in 9 News.
You can be sure of it.
All that.
Something else we're keeping an eye on is this. So storm debris pickup, EBR, heads up. If you want that debris picked up, let's say you had a lot of limbs in your yard from Ida's winds, well, it's time to start putting them into different piles. And it's really important because the city, parish has enacted contracts with 2 different companies, just like they did during the flood. They're going to start making their passes, but in order for it to be picked up, you have to separate them into piles. We've done this before, folks, but time and time again, people complain and say they didn't come to my house and pick up the stuff. Well, why is that?
Yeah. So you know how to do this. It is maybe like a little bit of construction, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We're construction, demolition debris, and then
Versus
kind of the
limbs.
vegetative debris, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, the limbs and all that. So a couple different piles. Get it out to the curb. You can't have this stuff running up your sidewalk, like the sidewalk to the front door, because the claws can't make it out that far, and they can't come onto your property to pick it
Yeah.
up. They don't want it in the street, just as close to the curb as you possibly can. Don't put it next to any trees that you may still have on your property. Makes it difficult for the trucks. No utility poles, don't put it next to those. No fire hydrants,
Yeah.
mailboxes. Just keep it away from all that stuff so they don't do any more damage, and they can get to what they need and get it away for you.
Please make their job easier
Oh, yeah.
and have it picked up so it's out of your yard.
Oi, oi, oi.
Yes.
So, okay, that begins today, for instance, in EBR, and beginning today for some places, not EBR, actually EBR teachers today.
Correct.
But EBR students are going to be tomorrow. School closures, reopenings after Ida, always kind of in flux here.
There are a lot of changes by parish. West Baton Rouge, LSU, and Southern start today. But again, those are the only 3 we know of that are going back today. Officially for students, as Matt said, EBR students is going to be tomorrow.
Right.
Livingston may be Friday. Remember, when we talk about widespread power outages,
Yeah.
Livingston Parish is still trying to figure out which schools are viable, which schools still have damage and debris that needs to be picked up. So a lot of ongoing changes that we keep up with right here. So if you are in doubt, on whether to send your kid to school tomorrow, check the story, and we'll be sure to update you as we get those updates from school districts.
I don't know. I mean, if you've got the 9 News app, for instance, EBR was making those decisions yesterday, right? And we pushed that out pretty quickly. We know, obviously, it's the biggest parish in the area, the biggest school district in our area, and so push that out immediately. Chances are, look, if you're a parent, you're getting those emails and those pushes from the individual schools as well, depending, because they're pretty good at it. But guaranteed and rest assured, we'll make sure you know as well. Update you here.
Yes.
Almost a time to return to school for a lot of folks.
That's it.
Oh, yes. What else you got?
Well, we talk about this ongoing IDA, right? Everything is around IDA. If you are still without power, if you are with power now and you're still trying to figure out, well, I had to throw out everything in my fridge, what are we going to eat? There are places, there are people, there are organizations working together to distribute hot meals, working together to pass out ice and water, even blue tarps. So we have this ongoing story, parish by parish, where you can see a list of locations, dates, times, addresses of where you can pick up these supplies your family may need. And you want to pay specific attention because depending on what your needs are, let's say you have a tarp, but you need meals and you need water, well, you can go here. So just be aware, and some of them do require certain things. Like some of the parishes and cities are asking you to provide proof of address. So you may want to carry your ID on you. Always good to have on you, just in case. Sure. But we make it easy for you. We do it parish by parish.
Yeah. And so, if again, there's a lot of folks here who are going to be out there who need access to this. Some of this may go back to just continuing to deal with the pandemic and everything. But yeah, if you're in the parish and you need that help, there's going to be spaces for you, places for you. Some of them actually started going at like 8 o'clock this morning.
Yes.
Depending on where some getting going at 9 o'clock this morning. You got another couple beginning today with the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. They're really, I mean, one of those great groups out there that continues to give, what is it, 11 parishes, 12 parishes? They get to so many places. So if you need some help, this may be the spot to go. Again, look for the story.
Yes.
It is meal, other types of distribution sets up for IDA victims. Please, if you need, there you go.
That's it. We're trying our best to keep you updated everything on 9 News Now. And again, in 24 hours, we're going to do this again for you and talk about all the resources available. It's a great place to get your news update and last minute kind of a briefing before you head out the door. And you know what else is happening today?
That's what I hear. Now, wait a minute.
Yes.
Don't tease me. Is Johnny coming back?
He is.
Awesome.
10 a.m., right? We're turning back to our normal programming, which is good. That means we're getting to a point where we're bringing back these things where you want to talk about, you want to know about to get your mind off of IDA, all things IDA. So Johnny is talking today with our digital content producer, Autumn Payton, who is running this very show from behind the scenes.
Autumn!
She's got some exciting news to share with the class, and we can't wait for you to hear it.
I would move this whole thing so you could see her, but this whole thing is attached to this whole thing.
Yes.
And so if I move this whole thing and this whole thing came back, this whole thing would be fired and you wouldn't see him tomorrow. So I'm sure a lot of you want me to move it. But actually, she's right there.
This is more of a tease, so you have to come back and watch. You heard her. She just said hello. Hi. She's chatting with Johnny A about all things happening in her world and our part of the world.
So all that's coming up. And then we'll step you through the rest of the programming as the week goes on. But here's where you can find us. Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, on the YouTubes as well.
Tubes.
Tubes with a plural.
Yes.
Plural.
Yes.
There's many tubes.
Yes, there are. In the meantime, we hope you stay cool. We hope your power comes back on if it's not. And remember to watch out for this.
Yeah.
If I can get it.
Yep. A little bit of spotty shower. It's that kind of familiar summertime pattern here in South Louisiana that we're going to fall more into even next week. But get ready for more of it today, and then we're going to start to maybe cool off on those mornings as the back end of the week shows up. So something to look forward to, huh?
Oh, cannot wait for that.
Can't wait. Fall-ish. Fall